Hi, I'm Dr. Delphina JOYce, Messenger of Joy with Joy Journey Options You Choose. And today I'm going to teach you a little bit about the restricted mindset. The restricted mindset is a low joy, low skill state. And what that means is that a person's thoughts are operating with fear, doubt, and limiting beliefs are blocking a person's inner power and it's diminishing a sense of possibility. This mindset keeps a person stuck in what I call the survival mode. In the restricted mindset, a person feels disconnected. They don't see their choices. They believe that they're a victim and life is happening to them. They're oftentimes guided by old patterns and triggered by things that bother them very easily. They don't have the skills to handle some of the challenges that come with life, and they're unable to actually see possibilities, even if possibilities are present. Ultimately, the restricted mindset closes off joy. It hinders clarity and it shrinks confidence. It makes it difficult for a person to take purposeful actions and lead oneself forward. Why? Because they can't see past the negative. That is the restricted mindset. So,
Today, we are tackling something that holds back even the most successful leaders out there. It's this subtle, powerful barrier called the restricted mindset. Think of it like an invisible ceiling on your potential, and we're going to talk about how to smash right through it. So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt that? You're hitting your goals, you're getting things done, but there's this weird nagging feeling that you've just kind of plateaued, like you're up against a wall you can't see. Well, you're definitely not alone, and there's a name for what's likely holding you back. And this is it, the restricted mindset. You can think of it as your own personal internal saboteur. It's this barrier that we build ourselves brick by brick out of self-doubt. And what it does is it quietly, silently holds our own power hostage. It messes with our decisions, it limits our growth, and it shrinks our influence, often without us even realizing it's happening. So where in the world does this self-doubt even come from? I mean, it doesn't just pop up out of nowhere, right? It's something that gets built over a long, long time, usually starting way before we ever even think about being a leader. The roots of it are usually a mix of things. Experiences from when we were young, moments where we learned to doubt what we were capable of, and just patterns of thinking that get stronger and stronger over the years. Realizing this is huge because it helps you see it's not some personal flaw. It's just a learned pattern. And the good news is anything learned can be unlearned. All right, let's make this really concrete. This mindset, it has a voice. It's that little monologue running in the back of your head. As we go through these next few slides, I just want you to ask yourself, does this sound familiar? Here's a classic. A big opportunity comes up, a promotion, a new project, and boom, that voice immediately jumps in, telling you you're not ready, you don't have what it takes. That right there, that's the restricted mindset, drawing an invisible line around your own ambition. Or what about this one? The voice that's terrified of taking a risk. This thought keeps you locked in your comfort zone. You end up avoiding new ideas, shying away from big decisions, and always choosing the safe, predictable route, which, let's be honest, is a fast track to stagnation. And this one, this one is just so limiting. It's that belief that you should just be happy with what you've got. That asking for a bigger role, more responsibility, or frankly, more money is greedy or out of line. This thought puts a hard cap on your own value both personally and professionally. Okay, so we've heard the internal voice. But how does this mindset actually show up in what we do or what we don't do? Well, there are 4 really clear red flags you can watch out for. This is how those thoughts become actions. You find yourself constantly second-guessing every choice. That's not being careful. That's heading straight for decision paralysis. Always needing other people to sign off on your ideas, that's a trap called external validation. And avoiding risk, well, it might feel safe, but all it does is shrink your world until you're stuck in a tiny comfort zone. And that feeling of being stuck, even when you're successful, that's the painful feeling of your own untapped potential. These are the symptoms of your power being held hostage. All right, enough about the problem. Let's get to the good stuff. The solution. Because there is absolutely a way to break free from this. There is a path to reclaiming your power and starting to lead with the confidence you were always meant to have. So, how do we do it? It's a clear 4-step process. First, it's just awareness. You gotta start noticing when fear and doubt are calling the shots. Second, you challenge those limiting beliefs. You stop accepting them as the truth. Third, you start taking small, intentional risks to prove to yourself you can do more. And finally, you reconnect with your purpose, so your choices are guided by your values, not by your fears. Now, that challenge step we just mentioned is absolutely critical, and it all boils down to this one question. The next time that voice in your head says, I can't or I shouldn't, I want you to stop and ask yourself this. Is that really true, or am I just the one holding myself back? Seriously, let that sink in. This question is the key. It's what gives you the space to take those small risks and start reconnecting with what you really want, instead of just listening to old, outdated fears. When you get right down to it, this whole journey brings us to one core truth. Real, impactful leadership, it isn't about strategies and tactics you learn from a book. It starts inside you. Your power, your influence, it's already there. It's yours to claim. This says it all, doesn't it? Leadership starts within. Often, the biggest obstacle we face isn't the market or the competition or even our team. It's the invisible ceiling we put on ourselves. So don't let a restricted mindset hold your power hostage. And so I'm going to leave you with a question to really think about. After everything we've talked about today, what's the first small intentional risk you are going to take? What's that first step you'll take to start pushing back on that invisible ceiling? Because that small step, that's how it all begins. That's how you start to reclaim your power.
Okay, let's talk about the joy mindset success quadrant. Is your mindset possibly holding your power hostage? That's a great question to think about. What if I told you that your power isn't gone, it's trapped in your mindset? And you may think you don't have a choice, but you do. I am going to talk to you about the joy mindset quadrant, and I'm going to break it down for you so that it sounds clear. It is a roadmap for survival moving into self leadership. So let's start looking at the restricted mindset. That's the red one, it's the bottom left hand corner. As you can see, this is where your joy gets held hostage. A person operating in the restricted mindset may feel stuck, overwhelmed, reactive. They're basically waiting for permission to live, and they're looking for it from others, and they are afraid. The storyline here is I have no choice. I can't do anything with my bad luck. But that's not true. The truth is, moving into the next mindset is when awareness is created. And that is the awakening mindset. That's the blue color right there. When a person is operating in the awakening mindset, this is the moment when they finally wake up and they realize, something has to change. And they become aware of their behaviors, their attitudes, and their thoughts. When a person is operating in the awakening mindset, this is a really cool place to be. Why? Because they shift from thinking that they're powerless into there are possibilities and I can change and I have power. As you can see, when a person's operating in the awakening mindset, that they have uh, high joy and they have low skills. So they need to learn some skill sets for handling difficulties. And when a person's in restricted, they have low joy and low skills. Now, let's move into the natural mindset. This is a really cool mindset. This is the green one, as you can see on this diagram right here. This is when alignment begins to feel normal, meaning people know how to exert their power. For example, they know how to set boundaries. They know how to make decisions that match their values. And they understand that self care and self compassion are important for one's holistic wellness. And they're okay with loving themselves and implementing self care practices. This is when a person trusts themselves again. This is where inner leadership is activated. The final mindset is the joy mindset. That's my favorite. Why? Because joy means journey options you choose. It's about your free will and your person agency. And joy is not happiness, it's not a mood, it is your free will. It's where self leadership operates, and it's where joy integrates spirit, mind, heart, and body. Here, a person's thought is, I choose my path. I lead with intention. The joy mindset operates in empowerment, in alignment. This is joy. The joy success quadrant is your opportunity to learn how your mindset is operating, because ultimately, mindset is what either keeps you hostage or empowers you. And the beautiful part, it's your mind, it's your mindset, and you get to choose. So today's call to action is visit joyoptions.org and take the Joy Mindset Assessment.